What is going on, all you cool cats and kittens? Welcome to something that is completely different. I was just thinking the other day, as I was live streaming, I was like, dude, you know what'd be sick? Is if we got some new setup, see if we can change some stuff up, see if it'll look cool. And you know what I was thinking? I'm right. So, what we're gonna be doing right now is I figured let's do a story time. You guys don't know that much about me. There is so many things that have happened in my life because I'm super ADHD and I don't know when to shut up, and I sometimes do things before thinking about them, and I'm pretty impulsive and I just go with the flow and just do whatever. So today what we're gonna do is I think we'll just start off with something easy, something super nice. I don't even know what story I'm gonna tell. I had one, but that one's really juicy. I wasn't even looking. Juicy! So, I think I got a couple good ones. I was sitting there thinking for a hot second. So, a couple good stories that I had when I was growing up. So, I grew up in the church. I grew up in a small little town called North Pole, Alaska. Super small. The town probably has 60,000 people in it, maybe. It's kind of like a village or something, whatever you would call that, whatever the vernacular is. There was no Walmart, there was no anything. The only thing that we had was a Safeway and a store called Fred Meyer. Now, Fred Meyer is exactly like a Fry's. I think even Fry's owns it, but it's just for Alaskan people and maybe a couple other states. If you have a Fred Meyer in your state, post your state down in the comments below. The town that I grew in was very small. We had no stoplights. That kind of gives you an indication of how small this place was. I went there probably 2 months ago and I got to see the whole hangouts, and I got to see my old tree house that I built. But people flipped their gizzards over getting a new stoplight. So that being said, now you kind of know how small the town was. And so I grew up in the church. I was always getting in trouble, and I don't even know why. So this one time during Sunday school, I was probably 6 or 7, and the teacher was doing roll call, and I'd like to blame my sister for this story because the teacher was doing roll call, and I was like, okay, she's gonna say my name, whatever. She's said what's your guys' nicknames or something like that. And I was like, okay. My sister sometimes calls me Strawberry Daiquiri, which is the name of an alcoholic drink, but she puts a twist on it. I think she called me Strawberry Zachary, or Strawberry Daiquiri, or Zachary Daiquiri, or something along those lines. And so, lo and behold, little tiny baby Zach just sitting there, just chilling. I can't wait for her to call my name. And Zach? Yeah, Zachary Daiquiri. What? What was that? Strawberry Daiquiri. That's what my sister calls me. Come with me. We're gonna go talk outside. I got in an insane amount of trouble. But I was 6. I didn't even know what it was. Well, I wasn't yep, surprise. My parents are knocking them back, and that's our alcoholic life, is my parents are just doing. That's what I know. My dad calls me vodka because he's just getting trashed every night. That wasn't even the case. I didn't even know what it was. I still didn't even know what it was till I was 27. I got in trouble a lot at church, and thinking back at all the stuff that happened in church, there was so many things. So there was this group of girls that I wanted to impress, and I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna be so baller. And me and my buddy, he came over to my house and we practiced this move. So on the trampoline, I could do a front flip. And I was like, dude, I'm balling out right now. I was 13, 14. I was I'm killing the game. I still can't do a backflip, but I could do a front flip and I can do it really well. And so I had my buddy come over and I was like, yo, bro, here's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna learn how to do a front flip off of you. So I need you to get down on all fours, and I'm gonna jump off of you and do a front flip. I have no idea why I thought that would be a good idea, because a trampoline gives you a bounce. Other people, not so much. So I was like, yo, bro. And so I gathered everybody in the church. I was like, guys, I'm going to show you something. Come here. I got everybody. And the girl that I liked was there. And I was like, yeah, you know what's up. And she was like, oh, Zach. And I was like, you just wait, girl. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, okay, man, here. And so I did a couple practice runs. And he was like standing like straight armed. And I was like, bro, it feels weird. I need you to kind of bend. I need you to kind of like not be like this, but maybe lower your height. And apparently when you do that and you have a 13-year-old catapulting off of your body, that you're not going to hold up. There's going to be some structural integrity issues. So I was running, and he was all like splayed out like that. And I ran. And I was like, I got this. The wind was in my hair. People were like, ah. I jumped, foot on his back, started to do the rotation to throw my hands forward. Everything else was just a blur. And I flipped, over-rotated, landed square on my back, and did the whole, like, that grape mushing lady, the one that goes, oh. That's what happened. And that was in front of all of my friends. That was in front of everybody. And I just kind of laid there. And it was a, hello, darkness, my old friend. That was quite easily almost one of the worst days in my young growing up life. I pooped the bed. Straight up, everybody come here and look. I remember my sister there, and my sister's like, don't do this. And I was like, shut up. I know what I'm doing. And bad days all around. So, speaking of landing on your back, that brings me to today's sponsors. Mattress. No, I'm just kidding. That's not a thing. How cool would that be? But, no, there's no, Mattress Firm, I guess would be the thing. Here's the sponsor. Pillow. So speaking of falling on my back, so growing up in Alaska, you would think, hey, you can do all sorts of outdoorsy things. You probably hunt, you probably fish, you probably go ice skating, you probably go snowboarding, you probably go tubing, you do all sorts of things. So no, I don't know how to snowboard. No, I don't know how to ski. The only thing I did was sledding and inner tubing. And inner tubing and sledding are like the funnest things ever because you have no control. Sledding you kind of do. Tubing, wherever the tire's going, that's where you're going. There's no, I'm going to turn. No, there's you and like 7 other friends screaming on a tire going down a snow-laden hill, and who knows when you're going to stop. There's people bailing out. Like we had hills that were like this, and then it's like highway. So there is no, we'll just gradually come to a coasting stop. Like, I remember a couple times we'd go sledding and we would just plow into the fence. Like it was like the orange plastic safety fence or whatever. Like there was no stopping. You would pick up speed, and you would just slam as fast as you probably could into the thing. Like it was great. It's good fun. But that is not the story. This story is a deeper, darker story. So I was like 6 or 7 years old, and maybe I was like 11. Maybe I was 11. Let's double the age a little bit. Let's make it a spas. Let's make it spassy. So I was like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, whatever. I was a young kid, and my mom was like, "Hey, Zach, do you want to go ice skating?" And I was like, "Frick yeah, Mom. I've never been ice skating. All my friends are gonna do it. I got it." I hate ice skating with a passion. I'd rather rollerblade. I can rollerblade. Not very well, but I can rollerblade. So we got there. We got the laces. All our friends were there. And I was like, why is it so cold in here? Because I didn't understand that a building full of ice needed to be cold. And so I was like, yeah, whatever. And so my mom was like, put on your coat. And so I was like, okay, whatever. So I was trudging along, looking like a marshmallow man. Put on the skates, all this other stuff. I got out there and I was like, oh no. Oh, this is not good. My legs and feet are wobbling, and I have no idea what to do. My mom was just like, see ya, and she just pushed me out on the ice. And I was like, okay. So I was like trying to walk and falling and stuff. And I distinctly remember a very, very, like I would hang on to the side of the wall. And when I was growing up, I didn't know how to swim either. I only learned how to swim when I was like 20 something. Like I didn't know how to swim for a majority of my childhood. When my mom took me to pools, you think that that would be something that she's like, hey, you should probably learn how to swim because I'm throwing you in the deep end. And I was like, we're fine. So I always had like a life vest on, like float. Like I was an obnoxious kid. I was very annoying to look at. If I looked at myself as a kid, I'd be like, bro, just fix your life. So I'd always hang onto the sides of things. So when my mom took me to go swimming, I would hang on the side and I wouldn't swim. I wouldn't do anything. I'd put on little goggles. I'd look underneath the water and I'd be like, this is great. Look underneath the water. This is great. So sidetrack, my dad almost killed me once in the pool because they had like those floating like yoga mats. It was like a yoga mat or like a tumbling mat, and they put it in the water, so it'd be like a little island. So my dad would stick me up, put him on there, yada yada yada, and I was like, okay, cool. So I was sitting there. I think I had my life vest on, or I had floaties on, or I was like trying to learn how to swim. And he put us all on there, me and my friends, and I fell off, and he shoved the mat over the top of me. And I don't think he did it on purpose because he probably just wasn't paying attention. But I looked up and there was nothing, because I had my goggles on, and I was like reenacting a scene of like anytime a kid is trapped underneath the ice. That was me, and I was like, oh my god. And it was like a 4 foot by 4 foot section. Like you just move and you're out from underneath it. It wasn't gigantic. And so I got up, I was like, Dad, you almost killed me. He's like, what are you talking about? It was over my head. He's like, you need to grow up, just kick your legs and you're fine. And I was like, ah. But anyway, that's how I almost died in a swimming pool multiple times. So I was going over this rough patch of ice and I was hanging onto the edge and I was like, Mom, this is bad. Bad days are coming. I was like, I know I'm going to fall here next time. And so I went around and I got back around to that spot and I was like, okay, I can take my hands off the wall because ADHD brain forgets things. And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. And so I was kind of just doing this whole, and wouldn't you know it, right when I got to that spot, whoosh, my legs came out forwards, so I fell straight on my back. I apparently didn't know how to fall as a child because I made sure to land almost exactly on the back of my head, and I gave myself a concussion. I don't remember anything else up until the point of waking up in my parents' bedroom, and my mom was like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. And she's like, well, you asked me what day it is and what time it was and if we were going home like 17 times. So I'm 98% sure they took me to the hospital or something, but I don't know what happened. That part of my childhood is blank because I didn't know to hang onto a wall and not die when I knew that I was going to fall when I was ice skating. So that was fun. That's the time I almost died. I almost died a lot of times. But it seems like my mom is the villain in a lot of these stories. So if you're watching this, Mom, take better care of me. I'm your kid. No, I'm just kidding. So I will tell you, we'll end it on one more story because I am almost out of battery. What she did one time is amazing. So we were here in Arizona. Excuse me, do you not like my stories, sir? Okay. Okay, I see you. So in Arizona, we moved here to Arizona. So I've lived in Arizona since I was 18. So we came here to Arizona. Me and my parents went to like a barbecue or something, or like a pool party or like a birthday party, something like that. And I was the cool kid. I was like, yeah, whatever. But this was when I was like 19, 20. So it was like mutual. My parents' friends were throwing a party and they were like, yeah, bring Zach, whatever. And I was like, okay, fine, I'll go. So we went there. There was a pool party, yada, yada, yada. And there was just a ton of kids and like a ton of adults were watching these kids. And I don't remember everything. The only thing I remember is seeing my mom, like there was like steps on the pool and it went out like really deep and they had all the kids. So the kids were like anywhere from like ages 4 to like 10. Like these were little kids. And I remember just sitting there looking out at the pool and I was like, okay, this is a ton of kids, whatever. And I was like, what would I do if one of these kids started drowning? Nothing, I guess. I don't know what to do. Just reach in and grab them, I guess. And I wasn't even thinking. The only thing I saw was my mom like throw her plate of food out of like my peripheral vision. And I was like, Mom, what are you doing? And she jumped into the pool. And I was like, that's strange. Mom, you don't have swimwear on. Why are you just clothing it up? I get it. There's a bunch of adults here, so maybe you just wanted to get in and you were just like, I want to swim. So I saw that and I looked down to where she was heading, and there was some kid with his face just like this far underwater. Just like, blah, 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 blah. Like legitimately drowning. And I was like, oh my God. And right as I like registered, hey, this kid's in trouble, my mom reached in and grabbed him and pulled him out. And everybody was like, oh my God, what happened? And she was like, I just saved a kid's life. No big deal. Not everything my mom does is bad. She decides to save other kids as opposed to her own kid. Like, that's fine. I get it. You can have favorites. My mom is amazing. Obviously, she didn't want any of that stuff to happen to me. She's extremely paranoid. She calls me all the time. Mainly because I always like messed with her and said I was extremely hurt and all this other stuff. Like, my dad told her that I hit a moose on my four-wheeler, and he called her freaking out saying, there's blood everywhere. Oh my God, call an ambulance. And she's like, what? And he's like, nah, he's fine. He's just riding his four-wheeler. So my mom has been through the ringer. So maybe we'll dedicate this first episode to my mom. You're welcome. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this story time. Growing up in Alaska, almost dying multiple times, and I can tell you multiple stories of how I've almost died. So if you do like this, go ahead and leave a like, because I just found out I kind of like telling these stories. It's fun to relive the past. This is pretty freaking awesome. So leave a like, subscribe, do all that jazz if you want to. If you don't, that's cool, whatever. But I think that's pretty much it. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I hope you're having a great day in quarantine. Please don't touch your face. Wash your hands. And remember, I'm streaming fairly often. Be sure to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, all that jazz. It's all What Zach Does. And I'll let you guys know when I'm streaming. And hopefully I'll see you there. But that's pretty much it. I'll see you guys in the next video.